Hello, everyone. My name is Billy from Quest, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Reconnect Dive Deep session. I have a few reminders before we get started. Attendees will remain muted throughout the session. However, if you'd like to be unmuted to ask a question, use the raise hand feature. A Quest staff member will give you permission to speak at that time. Attendees can also type their questions into the Q&A module in your Zoom toolbar. We will address any questions at the end of the session. At this time, I'll turn things over to our speaker, Chris. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Billy. All right, hello everyone, and thank you for attending. We're going to talk about PeopleTools upgrade for the PeopleSoft platform. We have done many of these PeopleTools upgrades, and this is sort of the first thing that I'll say right off of the bat is it's a relatively easy upgrade to do to reduce exposure, right? There's not a lot of due diligence needed to prove out why this should happen. It's just an easy upgrade to reduce exposure. So it's right off the bat, kind of want to make that clear. Okay, so my name is Chris Cobb. I'm a senior director at Datavale. I've been born and raised in Silicon Valley, so I've been doing these technology initiatives with customers for a very long time, and really over the last 10 years, working with strategic accounts on transformation initiatives. So happy to be here with you and talk about our experience. The bulk of the value of this presentation that I'm going to give you, most of this, anybody attending this is already going to know, but we've got a lessons learned and the deliverables that I think, once you've watched this, you can download this presentation, and that lessons learned, you can just kind of track those and make sure that you've done those things prior to your PeopleTools upgrade. All right. Oh yeah, and this is a you can win a free beer for a year, completing the session evaluation after the presentation. So we used intermodal and logistics giant use case to put together this deck, and so I'm going to show you that business use case, the success criteria we outlined, what the risks and mitigations are, and then how a project government's approach, scope, timeline might go, what deliverables you might ask for. And again, I'm going to position this as if you're either using your internal IT team to do the upgrade or a partner to do the upgrade. So you'll see that on the example project team org chart. And then we are going to show lessons learned. Okay, so this particular project, the customer was sort of mandated to make sure that everything was under support, right? So 8.5.8 is the latest supported version for 9.1. There is an 8.5.9 out that is now steady state, and there is also 8.6, but 8.6 is only available if you're moving your PeopleSoft environment to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So you keep that in mind. But really in the initial phase of the project, as with any project, right, you're going to want to assess all the current state and then what the desired outcomes are. In this particular case, we wanted to upgrade the PeopleTools version. We wanted to move the databases from 11G to 19C. We wanted to move the Windows server from a Windows 2008 physical to a Windows 2019 virtual. It's not required to be virtual, but that was just what happened in this use case. Micro Focus Net Express over to Micro Focus Visual Cobol, and then the old Crystal Reports technology, move that over to BI Publisher. So that was the desired outcomes and the desired end state. As with any project, again, we're going to emphasize, as always, that the PMO is a very strategic part of the project. Status reports, weekly status meetings, issues list, all of these things that are a big part of any project, but we at Datavale want to always stress that to any environment, that PMO is critical, as it is in this PeopleTools upgrade. And a standard, or not standard example, project team outline. We were the upgrade team on this particular project, and then the client had their executive sponsor. I'll show you the 2-1-2 is the two in a box. We want a project manager on the upgrade team side and a project manager that is on the client side if you're using an outside partner. And then we do always want that change management lead. There are changes that go on here in the PeopleTools upgrade. So having that change management lead tracking and communicating is also critical to success. Okay, so things that we feel are factors in the success of the project, having a collaborative approach. Again, if you're using a partner, it's not just sort of this is what we want and partner go away. There's shadowing, there's things to learn there during that upgrade process that your internal team is going to keep in mind as they progress once the partner disengages. 2 in a box, as I mentioned, 1 project manager on your partner team, 1 project manager on your internal team. Having a well-defined communication plan and escalation plan before the project starts. Again, these are sometimes no-brainers, but we're going to call these out as factors for success. We're big on experienced US-based consultants. That's how we run our PeopleSoft upgrade. There's just not a lot of offshore talent, right, in the PeopleSoft world. There is. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's in our experience better to use these US-based consultants that have been working with PeopleSoft and PeopleTools for a long time. 5 major factors to consider when looking at what it's going to be, how it's going to be successful. Again, that Windows upgrade to 2019 is required, right? You got to be on 2019. Moving your servers from physical to VM, we recommend that. Can still keep them on-prem if you need. The Oracle database upgrade to 19C, the upgrade of the PeopleTools, right? I mentioned where we are at with the 8.59 and the 8.6 for OCI. So determining what version you're really going to end up on. And then we highly recommend, it's not necessary to get away from those crystal reports, but that is old technology as we all know. So moving that to BI Publisher is highly recommended. And then updating your system documentation, big factor in success there, having that documentation ready for the go forward. And then really we're big on planning a seamless cutover so that there's no disruption to the business. As we all know, the business does not like disruption. Okay, so risks and mitigations. The first one here is big. We're just really pointing out that your financial supply chain management objects out of the box still may not perform as expected, and your customized objects really might not perform as expected. So have a testing plan outlined, have your resources available for testing, and don't assume, right? Validate that all of those are going to work. In the next risk, the complications as a result of customizations, you see that mitigation that we're recommending. Validate everything in that sandbox environment before moving forward. You have to look at those objects to make sure that they're going to perform correctly. The Cobol modules might not compile, right, due to the differences when you move to Micro Focus Cobol. So access to an available testing and developer. And then the big piece here, and I'll show this on the next slide on lessons learned, that you have access to your Cobol vendor support. That's a big piece here. And as with any project, but definitely we're going to call it out here, the effort's going to go past the timeline if your business resources, testing resources are not available. So make sure that they're available and ready to go for the testing portion of the project. Okay, well, and here's we left this in the deck. Again, if you're going to download this deck, this is our approach and scope moving from the project kickoff. We wanted to list everything out there for you to have a nice list here to consider as you're building your own project plan, right? And moving all the way through over to handover and final documentation. So I'm not going to go through this. This is a very short session of 15 minutes, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but again, you can download this and have it as your starting point for building out your project plan. Same thing here. This is a list of deliverables for the project as you're working with either your partner on your SOW or your internal team on all the task lists, right? Have a detailed project plan, get your prerequisites document ready, have your requirements and validation document, and then here's your environments, right? Your demo environment, your sandbox environment, development. That's what we had on this particular customer. You might have your own environments, but listing them all out like this, where they're going to end up, critical. Crystal reports to the BI publisher, that was the deliverable. Training, having that training planned out and available is a part of the deliverable. Make sure that the documentation is going to get updated. and then make sure that you're going to get that high level architecture diagram. So this isn't an exhaustive list, but it definitely, again, gives you the ability to download this presentation and use this as your starting point. Okay, we just have 3 minutes left here, so I'm going to kind of talk through these lessons learned. And these are key here, right? So review your compatibility matrix, and especially if you're moving to OCI, there's a lot of moving parts here. So, and if you're moving from 9.1 to 9.2, or you're going on 9.2, then just review the compatibility matrix. Again, probably goes without saying to this audience, but on the lessons learned list. Customizations, we mentioned that, right? They require thorough examination. Just don't assume that those are all going to work, even if they're out of the box. Place the request for the Windows virtual server well in advance of starting the project, right? To have that not available and ready, not good. Same thing with getting your licensing discussions and that support resource lined up with Micro Focus. The Crystal Reports conversion to be a publisher, we're saying that that's what we're saying is that, you know, sometimes there's pushback against that. And so just have that all rationalized and have that business case outlined for why that's important to move to BI publisher, mostly around old technology training using the newest technology. We recommend, and we learned that if you bucket the reports into small, medium, and complex, and then start with the small and move to the medium and move to the complex, this will ease the conversion process. So just throwing that in there. Good practice to conduct a mock upgrade. That's that sandbox environment. Discover what customizations are going to potentially cause any issues. We're really big on that as a almost a requirement to start the project off. And then PeopleSoft has these tools that are available. They are SysAudit and the database DDD audit. Run those, run them ahead, see what issues they show up, because they do provide sometimes some valuable information on what issues need to be remediated. Okay, so, you know, this is, again, not an exhaustive list, but between these things and the project plan and the team org chart and the deliverables, we felt like we wanted to give you a good baseline for starting your project. If you're in need of a partner, you know, or if you're going to do it internally on IT. So I think that is it. We're available for Q&A. Let me just glance in the chat here. Just looks like it's Billy saying thank you everyone for joining the session. And we're out of time here, Billy. So I think that's it. And thank you everybody for joining. And again, download the presentation, and our contact information's on there if you want to ask any questions of us after the reconnect.
Thank you, Chris, for your presentation. Everyone, please enjoy the rest of your day.